experiences, you will definitely see the wide difference between the true believer who is acting in accordance with his belief and the person who is not like him. This is because the religion of the truth strongly urges commitment, or urges rather contentment with Allah's provision and with whatever He gives His slaves out of His favor and vast generosity. If the believer is afflicted with illness or poverty or similar tribulations that no individual is free from, he is happy and contented because of his certain belief. Contentment and satisfaction with what Allah has decreed for him. His heart does not guess for what has not been destined to him. He looks at people that are less fortunate than him, and he does not look at those who are above him in worldly riches. By this, he might even be happier and more delighted and peaceful than the one who has all his worldly needs met, but has not been gifted with contentment. The opposite is the case of the one who does not act in accordance with Iman, with belief. When he is afflicted with poverty or loses some of his worldly needs, you find him in utter despair and wretchedness. Another example is when fear and disturbing events befall a person. You find the one with sound belief having a firm heart, and he is calm and firmly in control of the situation by making the best use of his faculties of thought, speech and action, as though he has already prepared himself for the event. This type of reaction puts him at ease and strengthens his heart. The reaction of the one without Iman, without faith, on the other hand, is the direct opposite of this. When he encounters fearful situations, his heart trembles and his nerves become tense and his intellect loses its focus. There is nothing inside him except alarm and fear. The outward terror is increased by his inward restlessness, the degree of which is beyond expression. This type of people among mankind, if they don't acquire some of the natural means at the disposal of every human being for dealing with troubles through life experiences, their energy becomes completely sapped and they suffer a nervous breakdown. This is because they lack the Iman, the faith that encourages patience, especially in situations of difficulty and anxiety. It is true that both the good and the bad, and the believer and the one who rejects faith, both share the common human quality of acquired courage as well as the innate ability to deal with dreadful situations and lighten their oppressive effects on the self. But the believer, because of his strong belief, patience and reliance and trust in Allah, and his desire to be rewarded by Allah, excels in having qualities that make him more courageous and soothe more effectively the pangs of terror and the pains of calamity on him. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah An-Nisa in chapter 4 verse 104, إن تكونوا تألمون فإنهم يألمون كما تألمون وترجون من الله ما لا يرجون. If you are suffering hardships, they too are suffering similar hardships, but you hope from Allah that which they hope not. But you have hope from Allah that for which they hope not. In addition to that, The believers receive from Allah His special help, succor and assistance that will drive away the dread and terror that befell them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in Surah Al-Anfal chapter 8 verse 46, وَاصْبِرُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ, and be patient. Surely Allah is with those who are patient. Secondly, among the means of eliminating worry, grief and anxiety is goodness to creation. By words, by deeds, and by all types of good acts. All of these are good and excellent in the sight of Allah, and by them Allah removes worries and anxieties from both the good and the bad, each in accordance with his level of being good to creation. Except that the portion of the believer is more complete and perfect, and he also excels by the fact that his goodness is born out of sincerity to Allah and seeking His reward. As a result, Allah makes the act of doing good and granting it easy